Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we will discuss courage. How do we find courage? How people find courage? When the situation is bad, how do we find courage? The first thing we have as individuals is to continue struggling. We inherited this instinct from our ancestors. We are descendants of fighting, battling people. And the impulse to continue trying is one of the priceless legacies they have passed on to us. The impulse to continue struggling is present within every human heart. It is the first of the recuperative force hidden within our nature. By studying it, focusing our attention on it, and by reminding ourselves, like we do, that no matter what happens, the power to continue will never desert us. Another recuperative force presented in every normal human life is the ability to adjust to challenging situations. I mean, we face them every day. Every day we walk out of the door, 70% of our problems, This ability is part of our inheritance as well, from our ancestors. And nothing can defeat the life principle for hundreds of years, threatened by a change of climate, lack of respect, and slavery. The challenge always proved to be a new incentive for us to move on. You would ask the question, how did they do it? What was the inward technique with which they handled limitation? Is there anyone who does not need to learn that? In the first place, if we are to deal with our limitations, we must at least have the grace, to take not a negative but a positive attitude toward them. The first instinctive reaction toward limitation is negative attitude, rebellions, or self-pity. Like me. Many people try self-pity. They stroke their wounded spirit and say, if I did not have this or that, what a person I would have been, and so on. Drift, and so like I said, drifting into an imaginary of all that would have been, and their achievement, what they would have achieved. That's natural, but it is not an effective technique for dealing with limitations, with real limitations. A man must talk to himself more intelligently and courageously than that, If we are to take a positive attitude toward our limitation, we must throw off false sense of responsibility and stop comparing ourselves with others. We habitually measure ourselves by others and assume responsibility for not being as fortunate as so-and-so. But as they used to say, it's a great day in a man's life when he makes up his mind that he has only one responsibility. That is not to be like anyone else, but to handle his special situation as well as he can. That's the most important thing to try and do. The first question we should ask ourselves when we feel afraid, for example, is precisely of what? What am I afraid of? The second question should be, in most cases, what insecure elements are in fact in the situation? And third, what realistically speaking can be done about it? In most cases, you have to deal with it. Either to change the situation or to shore it up. There are many people who never, really get anywhere with their own problems or anyone else until they accept themselves that there are millions of people with inside information about themselves who do not like themselves. That's not, really, that is not your business. Back in the day, our parents used to say, you haven't given this field to till. Accept it. If the soil is thinner and the rocks more numerous and the prospect less promising than another, stop looking over the fence and daydreaming about what we could do with another man's field. There's absolutely nothing. Always remember, yeah, your limitations can only be your opportunities, or can also be opportunities. We as a people are not aware of our strength. Things are possible or within the range of possibilities. To us today, that would have been quite unthinkable not long ago. Really. Unthinkable. Just think about it. When I think of our journey, how far we've came, I believe that anything is possible. In time, we will learn the answer. In time, we will discover the breakthrough. And the reason I have hope is because we have seen the impossible turn into a reality. It takes courage to keep on keeping on. It takes boldness to get up and run with the ball after you've been tackled and your senses have been knocked out of you. You still have to get up. Get up with the ball. In closing, I must warn you about one of the most dangerous and destructive forces on earth, the negative thinking expert. Because he or she is an expert, you will be tempted to listen uncritically and trust them, struck by the authoritative position he or she holds. You will tend to believe that he or she, without question. Remember, my friend, too often we hear through our peers and not through our ears. You have to wake up and think about it. And in closing, I would say, think about it.